Hi folks, thought I'd come and do another walk and talk for you today. Main reason being that I'm told I'm not allowed outside today. I'm told that I'm not allowed to come to the park. I'm not allowed to have any visitors. I'm not allowed to do anything that isn't essential, apparently. From now on, for the next month at least, we're in lockdown, ladies and gentlemen, here in Queensland, Australia. I've been told that it's a $1,300 fine for me to come to the park here. For me to do any activity, to go out and socialise, to leave the home for non-essential reasons, $1,300 fine. But personally, I think that this is a Rackle country, these are tribal lands, and I'll walk anywhere I want. But the government's really pushing it, folks, you know. Even though, as I said many times on previous reports, on March 19th, the COVID-19 virus was downgraded. It was no longer considered to be a disease of high risk, a disease of high concern. It was downgraded to be just a normal whatever. Good morning. It was downgraded to be just a normal virus, you know, nothing too spectacular. The figures put forth by Mr. Ferguson, which were originally estimating there would be around about 500,000 deaths in the UK. This figure was revised down to 20,000 deaths. Later it was revised down to around about 570 expected deaths in the UK. And yet, despite all this, the government, in their infinite wisdom, have decided to shut down the world, put hundreds of thousands of people out of work, destroy the world economy, and put everybody under house arrest. Sounds quite practical, doesn't it? But that's what they've decided to do, ladies and gentlemen. Oops, sorry about that. Bit of a knock on the camera there. Hope the audio is still working. But we've got military on the streets now. We've just generally got a lot of bad stuff happening in all of our countries due to the actions these governments are taking. Unprecedented, folks, totally unprecedented. And like I said, this is just the beginning. Now, I would expect this to get a lot more strange yet than what it is now. And it will get strange, folks. I have no doubt that it will get strange. This is a really, really beautiful area that I'm standing in here. You just gotta love Australia. It really is a lovely space. This is Currumbin Rock Slide, they call this place, folks. It's a nice area. But yeah, we've got military on the streets. We had helicopters flying over the house last night. We had helicopters flying over the valley. They were police cars running up and down the valley, helicopters flying over the valley about their fake pandemic, trying to keep everybody at bay. It's a plandemic, folks. It's not a pandemic, it's a plandemic. And it's been long in the making. Like I said, the virus was even downgraded on March 19th. And what they're doing, folks, they're going to be outlawing cash as well. I've heard that Australia is going to be possibly eliminating cash next weekend, or at least suggesting people don't use cash next weekend. And it's just going to get more and more pear-shaped as the days go on. They're saying the lockdown is going to last at least 6 months. And they're saying people are better off, the best thing you can do for your health, folks, is to stay home and jerk off, according to New York Health Department. Your safest sexual partner is yourself. So I guess they just want people to stay home and watch porn for the next 6 months, folks, and see if they can destroy themselves sexually, the way they're destroying themselves emotionally and every other way that this government can muster to help them destroy themselves. Because that's really all this government really does, folks. Have a look down here. A nice little area. It's a beautiful forest, folks. As you can see, there's a lot of people out here breaking the law today. Oh look, we've got a group of more than 2. Oh dear. More than 2 people there. This is borderline terrorism now, folks. More than 2 people. Got to watch that. But we had, like I said, we had helicopters flying around the valley last night, perhaps checking people sneaking through the border or something like that. And we've got America in full lockdown, or heading into full lockdown. There's been a lot of people going and investigating the hospitals too, and what they found is that the hospitals are empty.
Told us life was gonna be this way. Now we've got to stay at home every day.
I was down here last week, and it was a big show put on with all the people supposed to be getting tested, and a big mad show. People look at the testing centres. This is what they're telling you testing is going on in. Where's the testing? They're empty. They're abandoned people. There is no testing going on. Wake up, people. Wake bloody well up. Where's the testing? Where is it? The show that's getting put on for you. Leo and Coveney and Simon will be down out for the photo up soon and have loads of people with masks letting on to be coming in to get tested. Look, there we are. There is no bloody testing. Wake up, people. Right down to the end, look. There is no testing going on in these tents. It's all a show. Wake up.
We know you're all at home, but we are here if you need us.
Starnes, and this is here in my downtown Brooklyn neighborhood. You know, they've been telling us on the news, and the Democrat leaders have been telling us that the hospitals here in New York City have been turned into war zones. And I thought it would be good to get out today and to show you what's happening, at least in my neighborhood. Now, again, this is not to diminish the virus or the crisis at all. This is just simply to explain to you what we are actually seeing in reality compared to what we are seeing on the television and what the Democrats in charge are telling us. So look, this is outside of our hospital here in Brooklyn. This hospital serves thousands and thousands of people. Now, this is the line to get tested for the coronavirus right here. This is where the line starts. And folks, I'm here to tell you at this very moment, not a single person is in line waiting to get tested. This is the emergency room. And you would expect, if you believe the mainstream media, that this emergency room would be overflowing with people. And as you can tell, there are no people here.
All the coronavirus test centres are all empty. And so they would be, because there is actually no test that exists specifically for COVID-19. They can test you for coronavirus, but coronaviruses are very common. Coronavirus is the common cold, and anybody who's ever had the cold any time in their life is going to find that they have coronavirus antibodies in their body, and they're going to test positive for coronavirus. That's the way it goes. You know, it's a common virus. There are hundreds of coronaviruses, folks, and there's no specific test for COVID-19. But what they can do is they can just test anybody for coronavirus, and so many people are going to come up positive, and it's going to push the numbers up for them. And as I've said before as well, they're recategorizing virtually every death as being a coronavirus death. Doesn't matter what you die of. they'll give you a test post-mortem, and they'll conclude that you died of coronavirus. Sorry about that. Because that's what they do. And that's what they're doing. They're just reclassifying everything as being coronavirus. Now we look down here, folks. This is a nice little space. People tell me I should go and move to their country. So many people say, well, you should come and live here, Max. You should move over and share space with us. And I just think, well, come and see where I live and then tell me that I should move. Tell me that I really need to move anywhere. I mean, why would you want to leave this space, folks? This is my home. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. But yeah, they have nefarious plans in the making, folks, and they're planning something really big. I don't know what it is. I don't think too many people know what it is, but they're definitely planning something a lot bigger than what we've seen. I'm trying to exercise my foot here, you know. It's still kind of sore, but it's good for me to get out and do these walks. But they're planning something. I mean, you don't see this much military movement around the world just to keep people in quarantine. There's something they're not telling us. I mean, whether it's a big cull or what's going on, but there's definitely something big going on that we're not hearing about. And as I've said to you before, I'm fully expecting them to shut down the internet, at least for 72 hours, possibly 10 days. And that's going to be a really dark period for us because I'll probably shut down phone services as well. They want everyone at home with their families, they want everyone home and scared. And if they can take contact away from people, well, perhaps people will remain home and get even more scared. You know, they'll get fed the propaganda by the TV, which will be interesting. I don't have a TV. But I'm fully expecting them to do it. And when that happens, I would not be at all surprised if we see a few disappearances. A few of the activists disappear. You know, I think a lot of the Q movement has been a huge psyop. It really has. And even with what Trump's doing, restructuring the Fed and all that, what he's basically done is he's put a huge burden on the Fed and made them pay for everything. But I mean, Bush did this as well. And I think Obama did it as well. So that's the way it goes. Good morning.
Hey, how are you?
So I think Bush and Obama also did the similar thing with the Fed to make it bail everybody out in the midst of a financial crisis. But this is different. Because of this whole economic shutdown, it's very different. And we're going to see, in a few months, we're going to see the Fed merge with the Treasury. And this isn't going to take down the Fed. I mean, take down the Fed, it'll just merge with the Treasury. It'll become one big swamp. See, the Fed, the whole Federal Reserve System, people think, oh, they'll never bring that down. That'd be death to bring that down. No, they don't care about the Federal Reserve System. The Federal Reserve System was there to keep us in line, to keep us subservient. But they don't care what it is. They don't care what the money system is. As long as you have to pay to be alive, that's all they care about. If they can make it digital, then it would be even better for them. So, you know, I don't think they're not going to do it, folks. They are going to do it. It'll probably all shift over to a digital currency and it'll all go cashless pretty soon. The thing about cashless, though, in Australia, it's against the law to refuse to accept legal tender as payment of debt. Now, someone can refuse to sell you something, but if you go into a service station and you pump your car full of gas, if they refuse payment on that, well, it's a service they've already given you. It's something you've already taken. You've already used it. So it isn't they're refusing to sell it to you. They're refusing to allow you to pay for it. And they can't refuse legal tender as payment of debt. See, if you've already put the gas in your car, it isn't something that you're about to buy. You now have a debt to that service station. And if they're not going to let you pay the debt, well, they're not going to let you pay it. It's the same as if you go into a restaurant and you eat a meal and you try to pay for it with cash and they say, no, we don't accept cash. You say, well, I have a debt to you. If you're going to refuse to allow me to pay for the debt, then I'm leaving, because you cannot accept legal tender as payment of debt. And that's essentially what they're doing. So, you know, we can get through this if we're smart about it and we do things in the right way. And like I said, this country that I'm walking on, this is Iraqi country. There's tribal lands. Tribal law still exists on this country. Even under their law, tribal law is still recognised as being the ultimate law on this land, on this country that I'm walking on. You know, they have no legal standing. This whole government has no legal standing. It's a bunch of corporate CEOs masquerading as government. And if the people of Australia were to treaty with the tribes, you can step outside their entire legal system, because their entire legal system is invalid on this country. Now, all they've really got to push it is the army, is the guns, the military, the stuff that doesn't really care about law, and there's a chance they will push it that way. But if the people of this country were to stand up for themselves and to treaty with the tribes, then perhaps we could set an example for the rest of the world. That's what I'd like to see happen. There's the Crown, all the damage they've done. We don't need these people, folks. We don't really want to have anything to do with these people. And we should just walk away from the whole thing. We really should. There's an old sawmill here, old timber mill. Let's go and have a look. You know, hacking the forest down, folks. This is where they used to do it from. The old transport there. Pretty wild old looking place. They used to bring the big trees down, hack them all to pieces in here. Bit of historic value, I suppose, but just really a scar on the landscape, you know. Beautiful country though, huh? Beautiful country that I'm not allowed to walk in. Personally, I'm going to be coming and doing these walk and talks all the time. I'll probably do them every day, just because I'm told I'm not allowed to. I just don't do authority very well. I've never really been very good at rules, especially when the rules that are coming in are completely and utterly stupid the way these ones are. Like I said, there's been people going around looking at the hospitals in New York, Boston, New Jersey, Brooklyn, and they're all empty. There's nobody in there. There's nobody doing coronavirus tests. There's no patients in there. It's all one big scam, folks. Everything they're doing is a scam. You know, the virus was downgraded years ago. It's all one media-driven push. That's even why all the toilet paper was missing, folks. It was just the media. They went in and took it all. They wanted to create the panic, create the whole fear of scarcity, push the panic buying. Everything they've been doing, folks. It's all part of the plan. One big plan. They know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. I had this plan for a long time. But like I said on the last report I gave you, it's time for the men to stand up and be men. It's time for people to stand up and be counted. This is our last chance for freedom, folks. If they get away with what they're doing, we're not going to get out of this thing that they're creating, that they're trying to call a society. It's not going to be a society at all. It's going to be a tightly controlled grid where everyone's made to walk between the lines. And we have to stand up. We have to call it out. See, the problem is no one's asking questions. Everyone's too scared. Everyone's too cowed. Well, even if you are scared and cowed and you're not prepared to stand up and ask questions, there's one thing you can do which will pull the rung right out from underneath this system, and everybody should do it. But you won't, will you? And it's something that I've been telling you to do for a very long time. You know how to pull the rug out from under this entire control grid, folks? Throw away your smartphone. Go back to using your computer at home. Get a dumb phone, take that out in the world with you. Just make calls if you need to, or better still, don't have one at all. Just make calls from home. You don't need this thing. You don't need this massive dependence on this thing. You don't need to be in contact 24/7 everywhere you go. You don't need this. They promoted the concept that it's a dangerous world. Oh, you may get raped. You don't want to be out there without any contact. Oh my God, what would you do? It's rubbish, folks. That's why they took all the phone boxes away and all this stuff, so you'd be really dependent on these things. But the phones are what they're using to track you. The government is now telling us to download a coronavirus app on our phones. Well, sorry, ScoMo, I don't have a phone, so fuck you. And fuck you anyway, because you're just a lying piece of shit. And I hope people call you out for that. In fact, this whole government is a bunch of lying pieces of shit. And I hope people wake up to that. You know, our health minister is a liar. Our premiers are liars. Whatever the parasite is in charge of this state, it's a liar. I don't know whether it's a male or a female, but it's a liar. It's a freaking insect more than anything. A lizard or an insect. It's not a human. And it's a parasite. Politicians are parasites. And there is no politician on this earth that is your friend. They're all bought and paid for. And like I said, I think the Q-tubers, these guys have been kept at bay, kept from action, kept from doing anything for years now. And they're also on a database that is being collected, and I think that's when you're going to see the mass arrests, folks. You know, they're getting hold of all the activist community. They're getting tabs on the entire activist community, all the patriots, anybody that would have stood up. They're all part of the YouTube truth community. They're all part of the Q-tubers, whatever. There's a database of all of these people, and I think we're going to see a lot of these people disappear when the internet goes dark, possibly myself included. So yeah, it's time to pay attention, folks, and I think this is a huge opportunity. I mean, the positive about this, the positive about being locked at home is perhaps people will get rid of their addictions. Perhaps people won't be so stuck on going out and getting drunk in nightclubs and doing drugs and all the other stuff they do. Perhaps they'll get back in touch with themselves and back in touch with their family. That'd be a good thing. It's whether the fear is going to take over, and the government is pushing it so much, the fear. Fear, 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 fear. That's all you hear from the media. Fear, 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 fear. You don't hear anything else. There's virtually nothing else being reported on. Little news snippets here and there, but it's all COVID related. Every death that's happening is COVID related. I mean, so much bullshit they're spinning, folks. But now is the time people have to stand up and be heard. Now's the time you have to be counted. Don't think Trump's going to come and save you. Don't think Q's going to come and save you. Don't think anybody's going to come and save you. It's up to you to do it yourself. And the best way to do it is to stand up and protect your family and to unite with the people around you, because we're all in the same position, folks. We're all in the same position. The real problem, of course, is the order followers. You know, the people in the military and the police who think they're doing the right thing. These people are fools, and the government doesn't care about them. You know, they'll use them to repress us, and then once they've got rid of all of us, they'll stomp them down too, because there's no free rides here. The parasites at the top of this food chain, they don't care about you, they don't care about the order followers, they don't care about anyone. They're just using people so they can get to their own ends and achieve their own ends. I mean, they don't care about the people at all. So yeah, I'll keep coming out and not doing these anyway. I'll keep coming and doing these walk and talks, just because I'm not allowed to. Because I don't, like I said, I don't do authority very well. But that's about all I wanted to say to you today, folks. Thank you to all the people who send me so many kind emails. Thank you to all my Patreon supporters. And here's another person out for a warning walk. Good morning.
Good morning.
And I've got hundreds of messages too, folks. Honestly, I've got hundreds of messages on Facebook. Facebook is not a good place to contact me. I only log on there once every few days, or if I've got something to post. And when I log on there and I see, like, you know, you've got 40 messages this morning and you've already got 200 or 300, it's just daunting. You know, Facebook takes a really long time for me to load as well. I've got a very slow bandwidth. Point in question, I mean, the last video I uploaded was 21 minutes. It took me 7.5 hours to upload that video from where I live at home. 20-minute video, folks. It's about 300 meg. It took 7.5 hours to upload. So that's what it's like with Facebook as well. I mean, it takes sometimes, you know, 2 or 3 minutes just for a message to open on Facebook. And when you've got a couple of hundred messages, I mean, I'm spending like at least 2 or 3 hours of time every day just sitting there waiting for pages to load. So I tend to not go on there very much, you know. It's just not the sort of platform I use very often anyway. So yeah, Oh, look, we got people down there breaking the law, folks. They're not self-isolating. Oh dear, we may be in trouble. We may have terrorists at work. You can see how the government's going to play it. But yeah, that's about all I wanted to say with you today, folks. So thank you for sharing this space with me today. I'll look forward to speaking to you again soon. Please take very good care until then. In Lakesh.